Colleagues, hello and welcome to this webinar which sums up the FE Sussex International Managers Meeting which took place on the 10th of February 2017, and that was in City College Brighton. Thanks to everybody who came to that. Just a reminder that if you're out of our area, FE Sussex is the consortia company of the post-16 colleges in Sussex, and this webinar is part of the Professional Exchange Network project which FE Sussex is involved with. It's sponsored by the Education Training Foundation, and the purpose of the webinar is to produce a reference source for colleagues and to sum up the knowledge exchange and what went on at the meeting. So if you didn't go, you can catch up afterwards very easily. So at our meeting we started off with a report from the British Council regarding their new online magazine for teachers and leaders in vocational education and skills. It was a bit of a commercial by the British Council, I have to say, as it gives, well, they say, dedicated space for practitioners and skills leaders in the UK to share with colleagues overseas. And it's been launched in 6 countries of the Western Balkans and recently in Azerbaijan and Kazakhstan. I can never say those 2 words. But anyway, the plans are to roll it out more widely. So worth a look, and you'll find details on the British Council website. The other thing we were asked to be alerted to was the mobility opportunities for students. That's the exchange of reciprocal visits under the Charles de Gaulle Trust. Students between 17 and 19, and they can travel to France and gain work experience in France to develop their vocational skills, and then there's a reciprocal visit from the French to the UK. So the next round of applications opens in May, and once again I refer you to the British Council website for more details. And we do keep trying to get BC to attend the meeting in person, but hasn't actually managed it yet. For those of us who are keen fans of the UKTI website, it has of course changed to Exporting is Great, and the department has changed from UKTI to DIT, the Department for International Trade, snappy acronym. And Abe Murray and Michael Axelrod came along from DIT to talk to us. They were very interesting in terms of telling us about the South East International Trade Team and its lead on education. Michael in particular, I'm not saying Abe hasn't, but Michael is a governor of an FE college. He knows FE backwards and he understands exactly where we are as international directors, what help we need and what's going on. So work closely with DIT was the recommendation. They also of course run trade missions as well in country and externally, and are interested in colleges who may wish to join that. We had a good session and a good discussion on the marketing opportunities which were going on at the moment. There was a general acknowledgement of the difficulty of recruiting level 3 students, so it was quite pleasing to hear some positive things. 6-month short-term visits tie up, if you look at the bullet points on the screen, tie up with the penultimate bullet point of 1 term's attendance at college experience. Those 2 markets go together, and I was with an international director on Monday this week who was talking about the steady increase in short-term visits, and of course they don't have visa problems associated with them, so good idea to look at those if you're not already. And of course the students are infilled into A-levels or vocational classes, so although there's supporting English language necessary, there's not the timetable of separate classes, unless you, of course, you choose to do so. EU markets continue to remain strong before Brexit restrictions, whatever they may be, come into force, so people are capitalising on those at the moment. And also, though I've not put a bullet on the screen about it, the target market of South America is quite buoyant at the moment, and the shift in the pound value has assisted that. So moving on, study semesters and the British experience is another thing that's being sold by colleges at the moment, coupled with a good visits programme, that British experience, as you would expect. And also South Korea and Thailand as markets continue to be strong, and emerging are Russia and Turkey. So the final thing, although I put a worry point on the bottom, it actually comes up again under the final slide in this webinar, and that's Hong Kong. Hong Kong in terms of agents, commissions and expectations. Now, we used to have the benefit of the AOC director, international director, to come along from time to time. They weren't, or she wasn't available this particular meeting, so the AOC kindly sent down a bulleted list, which was helpful. They were bringing our attention to some of the opportunities which are around, one of which was mobility of apprentices. I talked about mobility of students before, funded by EU. Call for Erasmus and the sector skills alliances, something else which needs to be looked at. And then there's the British Council compliance workshops which are coming up. These are funded and of interest to colleges and colleagues. There's also an opportunity to have your expenses paid on a trip to China. Don't get too excited. You do have to be a speaker for the British Council and take an active part in one of the initiatives they're involved with at the moment. So, and again, EU funding opportunities were mentioned. And perhaps the bit which most people find interesting, if not the most interesting of all, what's keeping you awake at night? Well, although we're reporting, or colleges are reporting, a strong EU market at the moment, it's actually replacing that market post-Brexit, and what will restrictions mean, and how will we as colleges be able to position ourselves to cope with that. The next thing is the high level of scholarships eroding our traditional markets, these scholarships being offered by agents and by large-scale players in international, the Intus of this world, that sort of thing. Don't underestimate how important they are. And building scholarships into your marketing strategy can be a very effective way of achieving a lot of coverage at a low price. Tuition fees and commissions paid, this refers back to Hong Kong. Standard commission in a college is 10, 15 or 20%. Private providers, private colleges are paying 35, 40% commission on fees which are greater than college fees, so the incentive for the agent is just so vast that they think, well, why should I bother to deal with a government further education college? And the final thing, with all the problems of visas, it's the continual need for lobbying by the FE sector and all of us within it to see if those visa restrictions are not too horrendous and they kill our international market completely. So I would say thank you for listening to the short webinar, and you'll find the minutes of the meeting on the FE Sussex website, fesussex.org.uk. You need a password, of course, to get to them, and they are emailed to forum members direct. But if you're listening, watching from outside the area, do approach us, and if necessary we can make them available, providing that's in line with your business and you're one of our colleges. So thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next webinar.